Grandpa Clone Customs is back again with another wave of products that includes something that I think is pivotal to the growth of the brand. GCC has done countless figures from dozens of clones to even named characters, which I think they tend to do better on. But to be honest, there will be a point where GCC will run out of clones to do. We're on multiple version numbers for some figures like Bly and Wolf, which are so popular that they've been restocked a few times since the creation of the brand in 2022. I think there's a lot of ways that GCC can go from here. I would love to see them do a wave of named Phase 1 commanders, just like they did back when they trickled out a new Phase 2 commander after every other drop. The time for the expanded interest in Phase 2 clones is over now, I think. This is why I'm personally more excited for their Bark, Airborns, and non-clone figures. Anyway, we're actually starting to go in that direction, and as a response to this need for progression, GCC released Stormtrooper helmets coming in Plane, Mortar, and Incinerator. These helmets are a replica reversion back to LEGO's old Stormtrooper helmet mold as a replacer for their new overmolded helmets, which just look terrible. I'm not really sure why LEGO decided to go in this direction. It wasn't particularly an issue, and I don't think they really needed to fix their old helmets. In fact, I think this is more expensive to produce rather than going back to the old mold. Although I don't really think LEGO as a company is willing to ever go back on decisions like this that they've made and finalized and doubled down on for the past couple of years. I mean, the 2020 update of the body design for Stormtroopers wasn't bad at all, and I prefer them over the previous generation. Yet they've gone ahead with changing the template one more time anyway by completely ruining the torso and chestplate design that they've had right back in 2020. Either way, as you've already seen from the B-roll here, I'm just a huge fan of these Incinerator and Plane helmet replacers. I don't have the right body and legs for the Incinerator and for my extra Mortar helmet, but I think this one change is a huge improvement overall. I'm glad GCC is starting to branch out from clones, and I sort of hope that they take this opportunity to seize the modern custom Stormtrooper market, which is pretty much uncharted at this point. 327th Grunts just came back in yet another version, as well as some arm replacers for your existing units in your collections. I own about 5 327th Grunts, so I say Grunts because in Revenge of the Sith, the 327th Star Corps troopers on Felucia actually do wear yellow pauldrons, even as standard infantry. That's unusual since normally pauldrons are more of a visual distinction for commanders and captains. The regular 327th Grunt isn't actually ever seen in Revenge of the Sith. Whether they actually exist or not, I'm really not too sure about. But for this movie, they actually reused and modified the 212th Battalion assets for the 327, and I could only really speculate that the pauldrons only helped to make them stand out a bit more. Regardless, these clones are great to see added back alongside their upgrade arms for existing units. I own a couple of other 327th troopers like Bly, a Heavy, and a couple of Bark troopers. I'm overall pretty satisfied with the variety that we have in the 327th. Okay, so this is Commander Keller, yet another highly requested figure. I've seen other producers like Clone Army Customs tackle this figure, but I just don't think at this point it's worth pursuing their Keller if we're already in the 2020 design ecosystem. Keller was actually designed by Kaminoan Customs, who I actually interviewed for their first figure ever, the 327th Bark Trooper. This is yet another one of those special designs that we haven't seen come before from GCC, and I have to say that every detail from the arm print, including the cape, and even underneath the head accessory is just awesome. It's especially a great use case for having a hooded Keller as seen in the online webcomic. What I would have liked to see is the hood piece included with Keller, but that may just raise the price on the end consumer, so I can't exactly say it's a bad thing not to include the hood piece. Either way, it's a highly requested figure that I'm glad that GCC has done, and I don't think they could have executed it this well without Kaminoan Customs doing the design work for this figure. That's really all for now. I'd like to thank Yoshan of GCC for sending these out to review, and if you want to save a little bit on GCC and other customs, you can use my code BrickFleet for a small discount on your order on Bricks and Figs DE's online shop, as well as on Tom the Builder's online store. I've also added a new store, Caledonian Clones, for those of you in Ireland and the United Kingdom. They also ship internationally as well. Anyway, that's all I have for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.